2022.
Hello. My name is Max Antello, and I am the president of the class of 2022. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all parents, relatives, friends, and last but certainly not least, the graduating class of 2022. Class of 2022, I'd like to start with a question. What do you stand for? We live in a world full of injustice and inequality. And yet we also live in a world full of beauty and spirit and triumph. Which world do you find yourself in? Which world do you want to be part of? I have to ask you, the class of 2022, as we move forward, to stand for what's right, to stick to your ground and your morals as the waves of uncertainty threaten to sink you and the winds of regret batter your sails. Because in each of us, a flame burns, a flame that has the ability to scorch and incinerate everything it touches, but a flame that also has the ability to provide comfort and warmth and nurture growth. So I ask, what will you do with your flame? Will you let it dim and diminish into ember, the small crackles of a defeated soul? Or will you feed it the timber of triumph and the coal of creativity? 2022, I can see your flicker in the dark. So please, ignite. Thank you.
On behalf of the Board of Directors and the faculty and staff of Raleigh Charter High School, I'd like to welcome the families and friends of our graduates today. We are completing our 23rd year, and this is our 21st graduation. We are very happy you are here to celebrate with us. First, we would like to recognize the grandparents of our graduates. Would our grandparents please stand to be recognized and applauded? Thank you. No one is more aware of what today's graduates have achieved than their parents and guardians. Would our parents and guardians please stand at this time to be recognized and applauded? We have some business to take care of early in our ceremony. The most important announcement today is to note that the faculty and students competed in 2 different athletic events this year. I was out of town for the volleyball game, so I really don't have a lot of information about what happened there in terms of the score or who won or how that actually came out. Probably none of you can remember it either. At Raleigh Charter, we typically try to focus on cooperating rather than competing anyway. So I guess we really shouldn't worry about one team getting pummeled that afternoon. Instead, let's focus our attention on yesterday's close but exciting kickball game, which I understand the faculty won at a minor cost of one teacher's knee injury. I think that we need to completely reject the rumor that the outcome of yesterday's kickball game was really sheer luck. A few thanks this evening. Our appreciation goes to Dr. Brown for performing during our prelude. Thanks to the seniors in student government and their advisors, Kayo Setubal, Julia Ferrando, and Charles Montague, for their work this year. Also, thank you to the junior marshals and their advisor, Pedro Marignoni, for their guidance today. Today, we welcome back former staff members Rebecca Flamia, Amy Marshall, and Bob Hussey, who are here with us this afternoon. also like to recognize two members of our school board, Jessica McDonald and Patrick Murray, who are in the audience and whose students are graduating today. We appreciate the many contributions you all make to our school's work, and congratulations to you as well as our graduates. Our charter school is a nonprofit corporation operated by our board of directors. I am now pleased to recognize Jamison Marks, who is the chair of the board of directors. Mr. Marks is a Raleigh Charter High School graduate from the class of 2003. His first day of high school was also the first day Raleigh Charter was open, which helps bring a wonderful perspective to his work as our board chair. Mr. Marks.
Thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon. Welcome, students, parents, family, friends, faculty, to the Raleigh Charter Class of 2022 graduation. As Lisa just noted, my name is Jamison Marks. And during your tenure over the last 4 years at Raleigh Charter, it has been my honor to serve as the chair of your board of directors. But as Lisa just noted, my roots with Raleigh Charter are much deeper than the last few years volunteering. 19 years ago, I was in this exact auditorium, seated right where you're seated, waiting to hear my name called as a graduate of the Raleigh Charter Class of 2003. A lot's changed in nearly 20 years. The school's in a different location, there's a new principal, lots of different faculty and staff. But then again, our forever home on Glenwood Avenue is just as quirky and architecturally full of character as the old Pilot Mill. If you were to ask anybody familiar with the old campus, they would feel right at home in the new school building. There has been a change in leadership, yes, but the school is still superbly run with the same founding principles instilled by Tom Humble. And there are lots of new faces amongst the faculty and staff, but several are alumni, and all of them continue the Raleigh Charter tradition of a challenging yet encouraging active learning environment. Plus, we still have a few of our founding members around from the early days of the school. I affectionately call you all my OGs. And 2 decades later, Raleigh Charter is still, without a doubt, the best high school in North Carolina. Yeah, take that, math and science. So maybe the school's changed a lot, or maybe hardly at all. I guess like much in life, it's a matter of perspective, and the same can be said about your past 4 years and your high school experience. On the one hand, having to endure periods of isolation and forced virtual learning created arguably the most difficult high school experience. But on the other hand, despite everything that a pandemic can throw at you, we are here today celebrating your triumph over unavoidable adversity. When we could not physically all be together, you found novel ways to interact and socialize. When certain sports, arts, and other events weren't safe, you developed new interests and pastimes until we could all be together again. And through Raleigh Charter ingenuity, somehow, you still had X Days, Flex Days, Phoenix Fests, artifact museums, open mic nights, and the like. And now, the class of 2022, you are here graduating more resilient than ever before. While some of you may think that today marks the end of your time with Raleigh Charter, I offer you a different point of view, one of which I am a personal testament to. You're only a full-time student here for 4 years, but you were always part of the Raleigh Charter family. As we say, forever Phoenix. I hope that as you move on to whatever comes next in life, that you will remember my perspective. I ask that you keep in touch with the school community, and when the opportunity allows, please find a way to contribute back to this amazing school, this incredible faculty and staff who, along with you, the students, and the Phoenix parents, make Raleigh Charter the school that it is. Congratulations, class of 2022. Enjoy this special occasion. You've earned it.
Thank you, Mr. Marks, and we thank you and our other board members for your dedication and service to our school. We have a wealth of talent in the class of 2022, and today we will witness a sliver of that talent. Several students will perform for us and speak to us. First, please welcome Bridget Hodge.
When I was starting to write this speech, I got major writer's block. As an aspiring writer, this was definitely the end of the world. So, being the teenager that I am, I took a little break and played the Wordle. If you don't know what the Wordle is, it's basically an irritating yet exciting game where you have 6 chances to guess a secret word for literally no reason. The word that I ended up getting on the 3rd try, if I do say so myself, was amass. Now, when I got this word, I really didn't think much of it, but then I did. Usually the Wordle is some dumb word that I get on the 4th or 5th try, then close out my tab and go back to doing my history homework. But the creative writer in me wanted to try to see if I could create a whole speech, a little last minute, solely off of the word amass. Well, to start, amass is 5 letters and it merely means to gather together or accumulate over time. And if I look back at myself from the beginning of high school till now, I see that I have definitely amassed a lot over the past 4 years. Yeah, on the surface, I amassed meaningful friendships, help from teachers, and I think I'm about to get my high school diploma. But in reality, it is so much more. So let's go back to the beginning. I remember sitting on the couch a few weeks before starting my freshman year watching High School Musical, Hannah Montana, and Lemonade Mouth, and thought to myself, wow, high school is going to be just like this. Well, I went to my first day that August 14th, and unfortunately, it was not the case that I was a normal girl by day and pop star by night. Instead, I traded that life for my freshman year of continuously looking up how to tell the difference between the independent variable, many hours at dance practice, and the 1/3 of the amount of sleep that I was actually needed to function. It wasn't exactly the perfect Disney Channel original movie, but it was the start to my own original story. That year, I amassed countless knowledge that I needed to learn, like being more independent, learning to stand out in a crowd, and how to do a lot of collaboration, and I mean a lot. During my sophomore year, I decided that it was going to be different and that I was going to become a better student. And might I say that year was very different. Mostly because we all got sent home due to a certain something that I think we all know. Although being at home and doing school for almost half of my high school years was unquestionably strange, I learned a lot about myself, how I could try to make the best out of any situation, how to become a whiz at efficiently using my computer, and how to stay positive during these weird times. Well, most of the time. After a 1.5 years of being online, we were lucky as a class to be able to finish out strong at school. I think during my senior year, I truly amassed the most skills, mainly just because of all the great people that I was able to be around every day. Every single one of my teachers not only taught me the actual information that I need to know for the class, but also just how to be a good person in general and to make my way into the world after high school. Even though it was definitely necessary for me to study hard, work well in groups, and get good grades, what I'm really going to value for the rest of my life are the social and practical skills that I was able to amass in only 4 years. And though our high school experience is coming to an end, this is just the first step on a long road of chances that we are all going to take. Kind of just like the Wordle.
Thank you, Bridget. And now, please welcome Shruti Patlaru.
Perhaps one of the classes that I'll remember most from my time here at Raleigh Charter was all the way back in freshman year, in Mr. Rios' English class, with the desks that have barely enough space to fit all your notes on them, and the Spider-Man statue that stares at you from the corner, leaving you a little bit unsettled. And while the class may have definitely been an indicator to the future rigors of our great high school, I learned and developed significantly as a student, as did all of my classmates. There was one concept in the class that we went over quite extensively, and that was the hero's journey. The classic archetype that has guided stories such as Star Wars or Harry Potter. And throughout our time here at Raleigh Charter, I feel that we each go through our own unique retelling of that same archetype. The call to adventure first comes to each of us with our opportunity to attend here at Raleigh Charter. And I dare say some supernatural aid was needed to get it through the lottery. That, or you had the divine gift of an older brother or sister that had already attended the school. On our very first day at school, we all saw those doors awaiting us, and we were kind of unsure of it. It's a foreign environment behind those doors. We don't know what to do, who to talk to, who's going to be there. But in the end, we all crossed that threshold, and we all entered in the community that was Raleigh Charter. And we began our individual journeys throughout high school. Now, in every story that follows this archetype, there is a point where the hero struggles. They buckle under the weight of the task that is set before them. My time staring into this abyss came during our time in quarantine. I became severely isolated from my friends. I lost myself in all of our time at home and over Zoom. But during our time here at Charter, the abyss most likely confronted each of you as well. Whether it was before an AP exam, or after you overcommitted yourself to a couple extracurriculars or sports or clubs. But at the end of the day, each and every one of us faced that abyss and decided that we would not be defined by our time with it, but instead transform ourselves and become stronger by it. The abyss is not what defined our time during high school. And now we've reached the end of our time here. You would think, oh, Luke Skywalker's blown up the Death Star. Harry Potter's defeated Voldemort, right? But no, we aren't done yet. We've still got at least 3 more books to get to. And with new opportunities awaiting each of us in the fall, I cannot wait to see where all of our journeys take us. Thank you.
Psych exam. We were in the Royal Banquet Hall. It made me think about Jackson Summers' stand-up bit at the 2018 open mic about the absurdity of having prom in the same room that you took AP exams. Little did he know that in 3 years we'd be in the parking lot instead. I think we've learned that you can't have Raleigh Charter without a prom that has at least some absurdity to it. I think it adds to the charm. I remember listening to him and feeling so intimidated about my upcoming junior and senior years. I had no idea how much I really had to be prepared for, and I don't think anybody did. Once we had all sat down for the psych test, I looked around the room at everyone there. I realized I hadn't seen so many of us all in one room together before. There were, of course, a lot of bouncing legs and fidgeting, and I felt myself doing the same. But I also saw people who were prepared, in more ways than just being prepared for a test. We've all grown so much. I remember coming back to the school building this year and noticing just how different so many of us looked compared to when I had really last seen everyone sophomore year. And when I looked at everyone talking and laughing before a stressful exam, I was reassured of our resilience. I think we've had to learn how to laugh and to connect, even when our environments made us want to do anything but. I've always hated standardized testing, but the AP Psych exam felt different. When I looked around at you all, it gave me some solace that at least we were taking the test together. I could recognize everybody by name, and I could recall what y'all were like freshman year. I was reminded that the people give education its beauty. You all have decided not to just show up for class, but to show up for each other as well. You have put in the effort to challenge each other's ideas and to get others excited about your passions. We didn't have to have a cake bake or Phoenix Fest or prom or our farm, but people took initiative to do those things that bring joy. And I'm so grateful and proud of us for that. Even when we've left our institutions of school, we'll still be in educational communities because we're constantly working together to make sense of our world. As we move through this discovery, having compassion, devotion to listening, and the courage to communicate will propel us into a world in which more of us can thrive. When we recognize that we will be learning until we die, we recognize that others always have something to teach us, and we also always have something to give. I can't wait to see the parts of yourselves that you discover in the next 4 years. I wish that you do things that scare you while knowing your limits. I wish that you rest and that you encourage others to do the same. I wish that you drink water. I wish that you were astonished by the sheer amount of things that you really don't know. And I wish that you remember that you have a spot reserved for you in all the places you inhabit. Thank you for spending the last 4 years with me, and I'm sure the people you meet in college or elsewhere will be saying the exact same thing when 2026 comes. Thank you.
We'd like to take the opportunity now to congratulate our peers once again. The past few years have been fraught with challenges, changes to all the ways that we experience life, academically, socially, culturally. But we've made it. We're here. We hope that you reflect on these years and those changes through our rendition of Z. Randall Stroop's Omnia Sol. The Latin portion of the text translates to, "The sun warms everything, even when I am far away. Love me and know that I too am faithful." Please remember this moment long after it's gone. It's one of the few that make us who we are.
Longing to
When the class of 2022 voted to select their speaker for their commencement address, they selected Mr. Philip Kellogg. As an undergraduate, Mr. Kellogg attended Otterbein University, where he majored in physics and participated in research at the Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory. His eclectic interests are illustrated by his several undergraduate minors, which include philosophy, mathematics, and creative writing. He received his Master's of Arts in Teaching from the North Carolina State University. Mr. Kellogg joined Raleigh Charter High School faculty in 2016 and has taught honors physics and several levels of AP physics over the last several years. In addition to teaching, Mr. Kellogg has sponsored and supervised a variety of clubs and activities, from the climbing club to the honor council. We appreciate his many contributions to the life of our school. Mr. Kellogg has taught many of these seniors over their 4 years at Raleigh Charter, some of them more than once, and they've asked him to come here this evening to share his insights and experiences with them. Of course, like so many other things this year, we will need to be flexible with Mr. Kellogg's speech, since he is not able to be with us tonight. Instead, Mr. David Palmieri has agreed to read Mr. Kellogg and read his speech. It is my pleasure to welcome Mr. David Palmieri, who will be channeling Mr. Kellogg.
Good afternoon. I am not Mr. Kellogg. Unfortunately, he could not be here today. Bet you can't guess why. But he does want me to assure you that his wedding last weekend was totally worth it, and that he is getting his just desserts for not being here, because if you think writing a speech is stressful, you should try writing one for someone to give on your behalf. For those of you who don't know Mr. Kellogg, he's the guy who teaches physics. But since not everyone takes physics, you might know him as the teacher with the blonde ponytail. The guy who made his hair stand up when we were in the sophomore physics flex, or the guy who did the car, tire, and battery demo. Hopefully, you've got them in your mind because at this point, Mr. Kellogg, I am going to switch to the first person. Hope it doesn't freak you out. Okay, so, are y'all familiar with the sandwich technique? Since we're not in class, I guess I can't call on anyone to explain it, so let's just refresh ourselves. The sandwich technique is a method of giving advice or critical feedback. Basically, you start off by saying something positive, then you say what you actually need to say, and finally you close with something positive. Thus, sandwiching your advice between two things the person wants to hear, as a way to make the advice more palatable, so to speak. So, I have 3 pieces of advice I want to give you. But before I do, here's the first slice of bread. Everyone in this room loves and cares for you. Your friends are here to join you in celebration. Your family is glowing with pride. And all of us teachers up here and out there want you to know just how much you mean to us. You truly make our job worth doing. You make it fun, exciting, and challenging in the best ways. I'm honestly not sure I could teach anywhere else, and you are the biggest part of why. Now, I know that was some pretty thin bread, or should I say shortbread, but I also want to make sure I don't take up too much time. So, in searching for some suitable filling for this sandwich, I had to ask myself a very difficult question. What advice can I give that I actually follow myself? After some serious thought, I think I've got 3 simple, easy to remember pieces of advice, and you'll be happy to know that none of them require any knowledge of physics. So here's your first piece of advice. Ready? Use your turn signal. Here's why. Open communication is the hallmark of a strong community, so please do your part. You should always give others the chance to warn you if you're about to do something unwise. Remember, we all have a blind spot. You are not obligated to stay in your lane, but you should make sure others know where you're going. Even when someone is going in the opposite direction as you, they deserve to be communicated with. Lastly, it's important to make a habit of communication because you never know who you are going to run into down the road. Feel free to groan, but I thought that was pretty clever. Anyway, use your turn signal. Next piece of advice is to only take up 1 parking spot. If your car is taking up too much space, your ego may be too. Remember to stay humble. You can park anywhere you like, but don't deny others the chance to do the same. Parking may sometimes seem plentiful, but if we all took more than our share, that space will quickly be lost. Parking is sometimes scarce, and then it is even more essential that you allow space for others. Last, and I want you to really think about this one, it's better for you to leave room for others, or even take a moment and realign yourself, than it is to deny others a place. Again, it is better for you to leave room for others, or even take a moment and realign yourself, than it is to deny others a place. The burden should not be on them to ask you. Whoa, man, that was heavy. Last one. Always return your shopping cart. This one requires the most active effort on your part. I'm not saying you have to bring it back in the store, but taking that small amount of time to put the cart in its designated spot shows you're willing to make a place better even as you are about to leave. It may be someone else's job to collect the carts and put them back, but that doesn't mean you need to make their job harder. Even people we don't know and may never meet deserve kindness and support. I heard a certain unnamed sophomore from my 5th period class refer to returning your shopping cart as the best indicator of morality. You have nothing to gain for yourself and very little to lose, and yet it makes the space better for those who come after you. I'm going to get heavy one last time and say that is what the world needs. People who are willing to put in even a little bit of effort to make the world better for those who come after them, even if they never meet, even if they never experience any benefit. There are certain small efforts we can all make that are worth doing, not because they benefit us, but because they make the world a better place. Find them and practice them. As we get ready to transition to our final piece of bread, let me say that I have faith that the world is about to receive a new batch of just such people. I believe that you will all use your turn signals, that each of you knows how to fit into one parking space, and that you'll all take the time to return your shopping carts. And now, as we get close to the moment when you're going to throw your caps in the air, I can't resist the opportunity to end with a simple physics problem. Assuming the acceleration due to gravity is 9.8 meters per squared down, or 10 if you're lazy like me, a celebrating student throws their cap in the air, like, wait, don't do this yet. If they give it an initial velocity, okay, I'm just kidding. And I'm so sorry I didn't get to witness the look of horror on your faces. Whenever you do get around to throwing your cap, you have my blessing for this one day at least to not think about the physics of it flying through the air. To not worry if the motion is symmetric, or wonder what the terminal velocity of a mortarboard hat is. Instead, revel in the simple bliss of letting things go for a moment and being surrounded by friends and family in celebration, and knowing that, while there are so many problems to solve, the rest of this day is for you. Thank you for the privilege of speaking at your graduation, and I hope you enjoyed your sandwich.
Which means citizens of the world. At Raleigh Charter High School, the distribution of diplomas is a solemn exercise. We would like every graduate's name to be heard by their family and guests. We want every graduate to be honored, so we'll ask you not to cheer or call out or applaud or otherwise make noises while we are distributing the diplomas, so that every family can hear every graduate's name. We do things differently at Raleigh Charter High School, and we so appreciate your cooperation. When the last name is read, please join me in thunderously applauding our graduates. Thank you so much for your understanding and patience. At this time, Shane Klein, David Ennis, and Kaya Setubal will assist with awarding the diplomas of our graduates. Marshals, please prepare our seniors to receive their diplomas.
Christopher Gregory Bertles.
Harriet Combs Jackson.
Lauren Elizabeth McClure. Radha Chinmayi Mukamala. Evelyn Macy Shea. Anisha Sivayogan. Colin Smith.
Ava Grace Willett. Amaya Gabrielle Williams.
Seniors, right now, you should take a deep breath, look around this room, and really take in this moment. You have your diploma in hand, your friends and family are here rooting for you, and you're about to walk out of here as a high school graduate, part of the Raleigh Charter High School class of 2022. It is certainly an understatement to say that your high school experience has been unusual. In your 9th grade year, you learned and laughed, read, analyzed, and debated. You went to class, made new friends, participated in the Artifact Project, Flex Days, and Phoenix Fest. You tried some clubs and played on some sports teams. In your sophomore year, you came back and started doing all those things over again. Only you did them better, since you had a little more experience under your belt. And then the world shifted for all of us. At the end of the school day on Friday, March 13th, 2020, I, like many other school administrators, made an announcement. We would have remote learning while we figured out how to deal with the new health crisis that was breaking. You wondered, and I wondered, and everyone else in this room wondered what was going to happen next. Looking forward, we had no idea. Looking back on these last 2 years, it's still hard to take it all in. You continued to learn and grow as you dealt with the upheaval and disappointment of your junior year. Life was certainly not as satisfying for you or anyone else as we struggled through the pandemic. It has gotten better. It has gotten a lot better. Your senior year certainly has been a significant improvement over the last one. It's worth thinking about why, about what the takeaway from all this could be for us. Do you remember when you were very young and teachers did lessons about the difference between wants and needs? We define needs to be things like food and shelter, things that help us with basic survival. We define wants to be things like soccer balls and fancy TVs, things that provide us with enrichment and entertainment. These last 2 years have made us all reassess the idea of wants and needs, but we have needed to expand our definition. Only in terms of physical things is no longer acceptable. At this stage, we have to include more social and emotional components. Being isolated helped all of us better understand the value of connecting with other people, the value of being part of a caring community. We have found that these connections are so critical to our mental and emotional well-being that they qualify as a basic need and not just as a want. Being together and building connections with other people really does matter for our fundamental health. Parts of the pandemic felt unbearable, and other times seemed okay. Why were there some points more tolerable than others? The core component of the better times was being able to see some kind of light at the end of the tunnel. Those moments when we actually had some hope for the future were the best. And hope is a basic human need in a meaningful life. There is nothing more frightening or soul-crushing than despair. So having hope during all of this was essential for our well-being. At Raleigh Charter High School, our mission statement concludes with becoming knowledgeable, thoughtful, contributing citizens. The word citizens is last because it is the most important. Citizens build relationships with other people. They realize that being part of the whole and acting for the whole matters. Citizens realize that living in isolation is the worst. And you know this on a fundamental level because you've been through it. You deeply understand the value of being together and working together. In these last couple of years, members of your class have stepped up to help reinvent and reorganize lots of activities for our school community, both virtually and in person. Whether working as peer mentors with both 9th and 10th graders this year, planning and implementing an updated Third Friday for clubs, helping manage the online and in-person community work days through Key Club, reestablishing Cake Bake and Art Farm, enthusiastically presenting at Phoenix Fest, or organizing your kickball team in such a way that only sheer luck rescued the faculty, after you honestly whipped us at volleyball. You have done a tremendous amount to help connect our community and to give us all hope once again. So here is your graduation charge. As you head out into the world, keep doing that. Take what you know, take what you've learned in these last 4 years, including from a really awful pandemic, and then, in whatever communities you find yourself, as you move on from here, build connections and build hope with other people. The world does have a lot of hurt and pain, but you can have a huge impact on all of that. We have seen you do that here at Raleigh Charter High School. So now go out from here and look for those places and circumstances where you can keep building connections and hope within your new communities. We are so grateful that you have shared these 4 years with us, and we will miss you tremendously as you head out. We do know that you are ready, though. At this time, I'd like to ask the senior members of the student government, Max Dantello, Ella Bergschneider, Kathleen Healy, to come to the stage to lead your classmates in the turning of the tassels. We appreciate everyone's patience this afternoon. I would like to remind the audience to remain in place until all graduates have left this space. And for the first 10 minutes or so, the audience should exit through the doors on my left and your right. The faculty will take our ceremonial leave of our graduates outside, and after our ritual taking of leave, your graduates will be able to join you outside in front of the building. Graduates of the class of 2022, will you please rise? Please turn your tassels from your right to your left.